Hello everybody. Sorry for being extra late today. League of Legends Worlds had a tiebreaker, so I got delayed by 2 hours. Today we're going to play Red Green Pummeler, mostly because somebody on YouTube asked for it. Tell me to try to update the deck and give it a go, so this is my attempt at updating the deck and giving it a go. Um, so I really wanted 17 cards in the sideboard, and I didn't know what to cut. So I just cut a Prowler and a Rampager, but like, I think these cards are needed to really beat Mono Red, and I still don't think we're going to beat Mono Red very often. It's one of the reasons I've not been playing the deck. Mono Red's just been super popular, and I've yet, through multiple seasons, been able to figure out how to actually uh, beat that match. So that's kind of why we haven't at this point. Or it's kind of why we haven't been playing this deck more, even though we love it. Um, hey James, hey George, hey Dumbo, what's up guys? But there's been a lot of blue-black approach running around, so we added the Prowlers to the main deck, or to the sideboard. We added a 22nd land to the main deck because the last time we played at 21 just didn't feel like enough. And we're also going to try these Death Scourger Scavengers. They might be the card that puts us over mono red. It's literally trying something else. I'm literally going to bring in all of these and the Death Scourgers versus mono red. And the only thing from the main deck we cut for the land was one Harness Lightning. I'm pretty okay with cutting the Harness Lightnings. I honestly don't even know if I want any in the deck at all. That might be the next thing I'm looking to cutting. And there's a good chance, I don't want to commit to this, but there's a good chance that I'll play Blue-White Approach tomorrow because I want to try something interesting with the deck that in my mind, in theory, could be well, but it's probably going to turn out to be a disaster. And for those that's curious about what I'm talking about is, I'm thinking about cutting all the 4-drop, or all the 4-drop draw 2s from the deck and loading up on Ops and Search for Azcanthas. And I don't know if that'll be good. And I'm not even sure if Hieroglyphic Illumination might just be better than Opt. But that's what we're considering right now. Samuel L. Jackson loves cats. Oh Lord, why are you moving our windows, Moto? You stay put, Moto. Thank you. How you been doing today? Or how you been doing, James? I've not saw you in a couple of days. And yes, we'll play first. Yeah, I got a little delayed today based on the League of Legends coverage there, George, but it's fine. We'll keep. Tan's kind of weak, but I think it's keepable either way. I think we're going to cycle that as well, so probably just gonna. I'm gonna get a mountain, even though I don't need double mountain. That way, I have access to Harness Lightning next turn. Because if he's playing a red deck, like we obviously have to have the Harness Lightning. If he's playing a red deck, we're not gonna win with this deck no matter what. So, or not with this draw no matter what. So I guess that doesn't much matter, but. He's playing some kind of blue control deck, some kind of Esper deck, maybe the Esper tokens deck, maybe the Esper, probably would have had a drop if he was Esper tokens, but there's a chance that he's the Esper approach deck that's been running around. Since we drew the second Electrostatic Pummeler, I'm just going to go ahead and play this. I could care less if he kills it, I could care less if it resolves. Alright, so he's some kind of control deck. Yeah, I've been experimenting with a lot of different decks lately. So I do care a little bit more about the second one than I do the first one. So we're just going to try to play this. If he's got a counterspell, he's got a counterspell. Not that worried about it. Like, this is still the prize, especially if it's an Electrostatic Pummeler deck. Well, looks like we ran into two sensors, but the odds of him having two sensors are relatively low anyway. And again, this card's still the prize. I kind of like trying to hold this card versus approach for pre-approach, because you can just like cast it, get a fling, and win the game. But we don't even know that they are approach yet, so. But that's still what we're going to do, I think. We're at least going to play around Supreme Will. We may even play around Supreme Will and hold up Blossoming Defense too. Well, I guess we're not playing around all of that anymore. So could just have Essence Scatter, that's fine. Essence Scatter is going to be good at every point of the game. So there's a search for Ascanta. We'll have to see if they have another Essence Scatter. If they do, we're probably not going to be able to win this game. Yeah, I think we have to play it. He paused, so that makes me think he has it. It looks like we're pretty dead. Double Sensor, double Essence Scatter on our 4 threats. And then we drew a dead card. I do not think so at all. I don't think you care about negates at all. Alright, well maybe he doesn't have a counterspell. I guess I should attack first. I have no idea, George. I will not know until 5 or 6 p.m. tomorrow. I don't know what my day looks like. I don't know if worlds will run long again, for example. Like, I literally turned on the stream pretty much as soon as worlds went off. Like, I went and used the restroom and come in here and turned the stream on. And he probably has a fumigate. If he has a fumigate, we're obviously just rocked. So also our 4th Electrostatic Pummeler. Could have held it to try to do the fling play, but again, I'm not 100% sure he's even approached. He could just be some kind of Gearhulk deck, and then that play doesn't really work versus the Gearhulk decks. And he tapped double white, so it's definitely a fumigate. Well, we won't concede yet, but we're pretty dead. We could draw like Bristling Hydra exactly this turn or something, and like maybe he just doesn't have an approach in his hand and we can attack 4 turns, but we're pretty dead here. This is an extremely favorable match as well, but we drew obviously exceptionally poorly. Let's see what he shows us here. And we'll just go into the next game. Could have waited to see what his skill condition was, but I'm willing just to believe that it's the skill condition that I think it is. We're definitely going to get rid of these. And if we were on to draw, we would cut one of the lands, but since we're on to play, we're going to cut Servants. Servants get you 2 for 1 more than anything. Really would like to have the 3rd Prowling. Worlds was pretty exciting today, though, for League of Legends fans. One of the matches was, well, several of the matches were absolutely insane. One of the matches absolutely infuriated me. One of the matches made me think I could be a pro gamer. It was played so poorly. One land, or we would keep this hand. That hand's exactly what you actually want in this match to like try to apply pressure. You want just an early 2-drop. So we're gonna snap keep. We certainly don't want a servant. We sideboarded 3 of them out. Wouldn't have minded to draw another 2-drop, but we still have time to next turn. We also cut the Glorybringers out of our sideboard to make room for the mono red hate, so like we don't have the extra haste fret post board. Yes, go ahead and deal the extra damage. And even though our deck's mostly 2s and 3s, we have no play this turn. It's just a minor tip in case anybody happens to be playing his deck. Don't play Esper. The black adds absolutely nothing to your deck but mana problems. It doesn't give you one positive addition to the deck. Literal not one, which is amazing. I'm just gonna go ahead and slam this guy. He's already cycled 1 sensor. If he has 2 sensors, great. Not really worried about it. I assume there's going to be an Essence Scatter or a Supreme Will or something. There's just like so many answers that you can't really just be like, oh, what will I do, boss? Could have protected this with the Blossoming Defense, but I wouldn't have, so like that's not really a thing. The god does nothing. Do not splash black for the god. First of all, the god does literal nothing to help you win the game. But second of all, to come into play tapped lands will cost you many games. Like the god does absolutely nothing. You don't need it to win. It's like a win more card. Alright, well, he's going to get our Blossoming Defense here, which is a little unfortunate. And yet, we're somehow out of cards. Not actually sure how we're out of cards since our opponents played nothing to get card advantage on us. And we have played the same amount of lands and he still has 3 cards. Oh, that was a dead draw. Could be a settled wreckage. It's like he's even played 2 Fatal Pushes versus, like, it's just not good. Those cards aren't even good versus mono red. But yeah, we're in pretty bad shape now. Well, he doesn't have an approach. He didn't have a card draw spell either, so. Alright, censor it. I don't. I guess we'll pass turn. He didn't play a land this turn, so it's all spells. Play this dude. This dude in theory could be lethal next turn. He'd have to survive this turn to ever get there, but it does make our pummeler deal 4 damage with the fling. Not that I think any of that type of stuff will ever resolve versus what he's showing us, but yeah, so it's a fumigate. Sure. Kind of just want to draw 2 more lands. As crazy as that sounds. Not playing the pummeler because it's literally not going to do anything attacking. Like, we just need him to be able to cast an approach. Alright, well, we'll play this pummeler. Because we don't care if the first one gets counterspelled. So opponent has Gear Hulks and Essence Scatters. Great. Well, that probably beats us because he's probably not trying to win for approach then. It's going to be very hard for us to win now. He also has a second Essence Scatter in his graveyard. Essence Scatter is very good in this current format. Kind of need our opponent to have an approach. We're just not going to win a game if our opponent doesn't have an approach. If opponent does have approach, we'll just untap and win, though. Kind of have to go for it next turn either way, probably. Yeah. Alright, well, that's game. Alright, well, that's the first time since Ixalan's come out that we've lost a blue-white approach. Actually, this technically wasn't blue-white approach. 0, 01, Esper. I guess Esper control. The third Essence Scatter this game, the fourth if you include the Gear Hulk. There's just no aggro deck that's ever going to beat a draw like that. There's no deck that attacks ever that's going to beat a draw like that. Alright. So we'll just go ahead and jump into the next game. We have Search for Ascanthean, which I find very odd since our deck's supposed to pressure with like all of our 2-drops. Like he should always be needing to use his mana on 2, 3, and 4 if our deck's functioning. I like how the last time we played this deck, we got mana screwed nearly every single round by not drawing enough lands, and we drew just 1,000,000 lands both of the first games now that we've added a 22nd. I don't even think Scarab God's very well positioned in Standard at the moment. I think the decks are kind of a little too fast for them to work. Like, we're kind of playing a combo deck, and it's one of the slower decks in the format. The only thing slower is Blue-White Approach. Technically, there's a Blue-Black deck, but I find Blue-Black to be stone unplayable, so I'm ignoring it when I make that kind of a bold statement. Come on, Moto. You know it's going to be a bad day when Moto keeps moving your window. So we'll play first. Have to mulligan again. Oh yeah, we mulliganed that last game too. I forgot about that. Alright, this hand's terrible, but we'll keep it. This hand is Stone Terrabarini. They started with an Effort Hub. Any 2-drop would have been wonderful, but obviously we couldn't have a 2-drop because we left the Effort Hub on top of our deck. Alright, well, we'll kill it. That card's actually very good, even though it seems like it's not here. It's pretty fantastic because it gives us a second Pummeler trigger. Well, theoretically, if he didn't have a removal spell, we could attack with our Pummeler for 20 this turn. Magma Spray? Sure, that's unfortunate. Well, that was a good draw, though. Still probably pretty far behind. Opponent doesn't have green mana, though, so I guess we're not that far behind unless he has an Essence Scatter as well. As an Essence Scatter as well, we'll probably just facepalm and like die inside. Well, they found green mana. I'll have it this turn, though. Go ahead and get this guy. Get a red here. And do some amount of damage to this guy with this guy while we can. Because we will have a hard time closing once they start playing spells. Unless we draw a fling. I thought about cutting the 2 Harness Lightnings in the main deck and just adding 2 more flings. Obviously, it would have been much worse this game. But it was something I considered. That's a Rogue Refiner. Sure. He's currently at 15, and we can attack for 8, 9, 10. Let's start with this. Seems like kind of a good one. I have much less of a hard time closing now. It's kind of interesting. Opponent's willing to just throw the Rogue Refiner away. Instead of trying to make a better double block next turn or something. So we draw an untapped land, we get to attack for millions. Well, my ear started ringing pretty badly. Stop it, ear. How does he not have a spell to at least try to block with? That's fine. Maybe he could see our hand. Who knows? The only cards I really like to sideboard in this match are Chandra's Defeats. They have so much toughness on the ground that I think that the larger than lives get much worse post board. But generally, in all sideboarded games, I take out some number of Servant of the Conduits. This hand's pretty gas. Opponent mulliganed. We played versus Teamer yet with Pummeler? Nope, this is our first Teamer match with Pummeler. This is only our 7th match with Pummeler, though, total, so. He put on bottom. Sorry about that, that was my phone. I'm Mr. Obvious, sorry about that. Probably start with one of these. Because there's a chance to turn after that we can play double spell. And starting to get this guy big seems like one of the better ways for us to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just had Essence Scatter this turn. So a little Rogue Refiner. Don't think I care about the Harness Lightning. Can kill Bristling Hydra, I guess. Alright, it can kill Bristling Hydra. If they don't have an Effer Hub, so I guess we'll hold it up. Another Rogue Refiner. Alright. So I guess we'll just go ahead and kill one of these. And get ready to attack for millions of this guy. Or maybe we're going to attack for millions of this guy. So he's not going to block. So we're going to go up to 9, but we're going to lose 1 down to 8, then back to 10. Do I care about dealing damage? I'm probably not getting to go all in with this guy, so even if I am getting to go all in with this guy, I just need 6, so go ahead and do 2. I think I can do 1 more, but I'm not necessarily sure it's worth the risk. There's some chance that we just get to kill him with the Pummeler. I assume it's a much more likely chance that the Pummeler just dies to like a Glorybringer or a Burn Spell or something, though. I'd say that's a much higher percentage chance. If it's a Glorybringer, though, it does take all of his mana. And doesn't leave him with particularly good blocks. Wow, he's found an attack with both of them, so that's rather amazing. Yep, we'll snap take the damage then. No, not a hard call to take that damage. Alright, we'll just go ahead and throw 4 damage on this guy. Attack for like millions here. How many times do I have to click it? Thank you. So even if he didn't attack with the Pummeler, he wasn't dead, but like, or even if he didn't attack with the Rogue Refiner, he was still dead. But it just seems that seems like that was a pretty brazen attack. Like he didn't know we had exactly those two cards, so like it feels like he could have won a different game. Maybe he's just got a bunch of Glory Bringers, but like that one's exerted. I don't know. Anyway, so wow, match started almost immediately. 1-0 Teamer Energy. Yeah, the stream is flying by today. Thank you, Moto. You again moved our client. Or what do we got here? Alright, this hand's keepable, but it's not great. Depending on what type of deck our opponent is, we may wait till turn 3 to play this. It literally is our only bit of gas at the moment. We see like, you know, a Glacial Fortress, we're obviously just slamming it next turn. Go ahead and getting a forest here, so do we have enough mana, or... Most of the Evolving Wild decks are token decks, and most of them don't have a full set of Fatal Pushes, so we're just not going to play around it. He may think we're like a teamer deck or something too. He may just want to get a stockpile online or something of that nature. Don't have it? Eh, of course they have it. Why would they not have it? Like, they're a Fumigate deck though, so like we have to get on the board and get on the board fairly quickly in my opinion. I don't think we can wait forever. We'll protect this guy mainly because he's our only bit of defense whatsoever, or offense whatsoever. So they had triple Fatal Push. That's great. And we don't have another creature, so I guess we just lose. Draws like that are a bit frustrating. Oh, we need to find a payoff spell fairly quickly. I have a lot that will take over the board from here. Another land's obviously not one of them. It does, however, make an Electrostatic Pummeler do a lot of damage. Like 20 damage or something. He's probably just going to get a Veraska at this point. Yeah, I've been more tilted in my life, but not very often. So we still have an out here. That's not it. So we're just dead on board now. We have no way to win at this point. Electrostatic Pummeler doesn't even win now. That doesn't win because he just ultimates and goes wide, so we're dead. A little unfortunate. This game is actually pretty hard to lose, but he had 3 Fatal Pushes. So Magma Spray's okay versus them. It's like a little better than Harness Lightning, but it's not great. The Hellions aren't very good. The Scavenging, or the Death Gorger Scavengers are still fine. Or not still fine, are fine rather. But for the most part, you can still try to combo these guys. Because we're bringing in the Scavengers, we're going to remove some of our Hydras. and like 2 of the servants. We don't want to draw a lot of servants. Actually, we probably just don't want to draw any servants. I don't like servants versus fumigate decks. So it would be between a servant and a harness lightning for the last card to bring in. Neither of them are particularly good, but the servant seems like it's considerably better. So what are we versus right now? We're versus Abzan tokens. Yes, we'll play first. This hand's terrible as well, but I'm not going to mulligan it when we have both a Magma Spray and a Death Gorger. A Lone Tusk Cub too, hiding in there. We have more creatures now, so I don't even care if this one gets fatal pushed. I have to read this card. Sure. I'm actually going to play the Death Scourger Scavenger here, simply because it attacks for more. I didn't have to remove that from the graveyard, but some of these builds splash Razcanta. He could be like the 3-color build, which I find very unlikely because we didn't see the blue mana last turn. But like, it's a non-zero factor. Like, they are some percentage chance that it could happen. So opponent doesn't really have a block. That isn't just a straight chump anyway. It's a little bit of an idea what's in his hand if he keeps one of these back. Let's actually cycle this thing to start the turn. We're going to hold the Electrostatic Pummeler because, like I said, they are a Fumigate deck. Go ahead and kill this too. They might not have a way to get an active stockpile trigger for the following turn, so they may just have like Anointed Procession or something. We get to attack for 12 if that's all they have. Alright, well, they're not dead. Or are they? Again, they're a Wrath of God deck, so that's 9. Wait. So that's 9 plus 4. Non-creature, yes, 14. So, the larger than life was a pretty good draw. Failure in comply and approach. I'm not sure how it would help. May double read the card to make sure I know what all it does, but double checking what the card does. Turn target spell to its owner's hand. Nah, don't really want that. No, I don't think I really want that. They just have so many counter spells with a clock. Like, you could just have Jace's defeat or something for the first part of it, and the second part of it seems fairly narrow. Because, like, they have other counter spells beside negate, right? Like, they have at least one Supreme Will. Some of them may adapt other counter spells as well. They may start putting, like, Jace's defeats and stuff in their deck. They could just negate it. Makes you need an 8th mana already. The problem with the matchup is they have so many counter spells that they kill you before you start getting to your approaches or before you start getting to your fumigates. It's not necessarily trying to beat them in the long game past 7 mana, so seems though it might be okay. I might could try one over to Jace's defeat that's in my main deck or in my sideboard currently, but the Jace's defeat in my sideboard does so much work. Like, it's very, very, very good, the Jace's defeat. So we're just gonna run this back. I am considering removing the 4 of 40 of the councils from my sideboard though, so that would open up some slots. I'm thinking that I'm just willing to give up the mono red match. I've not decided whether I'm going to play it, but I have a newer build of approach that I'm considering playing tomorrow on stream. It'll have to depend on, like, when Worlds ends and stuff like that. Have no idea what we're going to play at the moment. So this is a good card to have in your hand in this match. You can generally leverage it at some point for an instant kill. Obviously, like, they're playing a deck that can just go off, but you can often leverage it for an instant kill. Usually the turn you draw a Pummeler. Our hand's pretty good today. Go ahead and get a forest here. I don't think so. I think it costs 2 mana, and you're not even running. We're not even running the full 4 effort meltdowns anymore. What champ's my favorite? Probably. That's actually kind of a tough call. It's probably Hecarim, but I play more Zyra than anyone. Just want to go ahead and get a Bristling Hydra on the table. I play more Zyra than anyone, but it's probably Hecarim to be my favorite. It also gives us the energy to protect this guy from a removal spell this turn, which is pretty nice. He's probably just building up to a Fumigate, though. Probably won't extend anything else into the board. Goodbye, my friends. We will miss you. Well, that was about the best draw we could get. Yeah, I've not played a whole lot this year. I had a hand injury in February, and I've only been back to the game about 5 weeks. But Zyra was my main last year. She's what I've been playing mostly this year, even though Ardent Censor's the meta right now. I've been kind of trying to get used to playing Ardent Censor, but I'm not particularly good with shielding supports. I'm used to just playing Zyra and just out damaging, like, most of the mid lanes and most of the ADCs, but obviously that doesn't work right now. I've been trying Morgana because she's got kind of a nice shield, but it wasn't really working out because I can't just assassinate people in the late game, which is the style I'm used to playing. So we're not lethal at all, are we? Double check the math, but I don't think we are. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, so we're not lethal, unfortunately. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, not lethal. Alright, then. I guess we'll just go ahead and cycle this. See what happens. Maybe we get a +4 for this guy or something. Nope, no +4. Probably just going to do a bunch of damage with this guy. Our energy doesn't really do much from here, and I'm not playing another creature anyway. They are cast outs in this deck, though, so. Yeah, I'm going to play one more creature, so I guess it's fine. I'm assuming he's got some kind of fumigate spell, though, just the way he's played. Yeah, pretty quick fumigate. I thought he had that, so it was probably bad of me to make the play I made. I very quickly get punished for the play I made. So 6, 9, so 3, 6, 12. Not lethal, but if this survives next turn, it will be lethal. So this is probably a play mistake. Probably should have played the Voltaic Brawler this turn. Yeah. This was a horrible play by me. Now if he's just got another second Fumigate, I'm SOL. Oh, well, that's not that bad. Untap land. Fervently punished for my bad play. It was my bad play, though, so. Maybe we'll draw land. Yeah, definitely play bad. I didn't need to use this. So if he's attacking now, I'm just assuming he's got another Fumigate, which is really bad for us. Probably not going to beat another Fumigate. I'm just running code, or my opponents are running hot. I can't tell. That's 3 Wrath of Gods in 6 turns, or 8 turns, though. Alright. So if I play this, it just dies? I guess we just pass till we find some relevant spell then. I should have never opened up the Electrostatic Pummeler to die to the Blossoming Defense. It turns out it wouldn't have mattered because I would have played it the following turn anyway, and he just had the 3rd Wrath of God, but like, it was a play mistake at the time. Luckily, it was a play mistake that didn't matter at all. That was a good draw. Sure. Guess I go ahead and make him block. He's probably going to block anyway, though, right? Certainly don't need to land for anything, though. And he gets to just like play running Angels of Sanctions for the rest of the game till this thing's dead. For some reason he didn't block, he would have been dead. Can't really play the Brawler this turn. We really need to just draw a Pummeler. A Pummeler is the exact card we need. A Pummeler and 3 lands. Don't tell anybody that we need the 3 lands. We might get him to blow his load on Angel Sanctions with just a Bristling Hydra, though. Drawing something that would give the Hydra trample would be useful, too. I guess if he made that play, he's very likely got a Veraska then? No. No Veraska. Just everything else. Oh, I guess he did have Veraska. Alright, so the read was right. So what can we draw? Certainly not that card. That card does literal nothing. Can't really even attack. I'm just SOL here. He probably just blocks with this. Gains a lot of life next turn. Oh. I guess that works too. I don't really have an out anymore. I think I played this game poorly. I think this game was probably not winnable, but I still don't like how I sequenced. Okay. So we needed one more mana even for our other thing to be lethal. And there was no way for us to get to one more mana. Because this is going to kill us. Next turn. Not this turn, but like their next turn. So I couldn't draw an electrostatic and a thing in one turn. Guess he can make some very bad block and maybe I could get there with a pump spell of some kind. You'd have to make a pretty bad block for that to even remotely be viable, though, and I doubt it's even viable then. He's literally just going to probably gang block this, so. And we didn't draw anything anyway. Alright. So this is another match that's extremely easy, but, 3 Wrath of Gods, we didn't draw super well, and I didn't play very tight. Running pretty code today, but I deserve to be running code because I'm also not playing particularly well. Down to 5-3 with this deck on the season. I don't really know what it needs. I just don't think it's very good right now. Like I said, I'm playing it because a guy on YouTube asked me to. Like, Electrostatic Pummeler's clearly amazing versus all the token decks, but like, you can't beat the red decks, and if you make enough sideboard changes to beat the red decks, then you can no longer beat the blue decks. So it's like you have to decide whether you're going to beat the blue decks or beat the red decks. You can't beat both. So like I've got this hodgepodge sideboard right now that's trying to beat both, which means I'm probably not going to beat either. Deck's still pretty fun though. A little sad that we lost to Abzan tokens though. Like that's the one match that I want to get paired versus a lot. It's one of the reasons I agreed to play this deck. I just feel like we're such a favorite versus the tokens decks. Thank you, Moto. Appreciate it. That's our third mulligan in 4 rounds. Yeah, this hand's terrible. We don't need that, we need gas, so we'll go ahead and put that on bottom. He very likely has some kind of removal spell in those colors, so we're going to lead with the worst 2-drop first. He kills it, he kills it. Not that worried about it. Well, this is our only thing that can potentially win a game in our current hand. I don't really just want to throw it out there to let it die. That's a pretty decent card. Gonna have a hard time beating that card this game. Well, we can't really block. Also, don't really want to attack because we want to cycle one of these shelter thickets. It's kind of a bad spot to be in. Can't block, can't attack, can't do either. Guess we could put 2 things in front of the Fathom, but like we're not going to win a game doing that, so. Well, never mind. We can't do that anyway. So we drew another card that doesn't really help us at all. And we drew another land. So we've drawn another 8 land and 13 cards or whatever. Felt like we haven't really got to make decisions or play Magic this whole evening. Sad thing is, like, we can still just get an Electrostatic Pummeler and win. If opponent doesn't have yet another removal spell, but in the Grixis colors, he probably has, like, basically mono removal spells. That's... Well, we didn't get there. Alright. So, moving into the sideboard. I'm gonna bring in all of these little things that we have versus aggro decks. We're gonna get rid of all the combo pieces versus aggro versus a random aggro deck. We're just gonna try to be a little bit bigger than them on the ground. It's like reasonable to bring this thing in too. Electrostatic Pummelers don't really do anything when we're taking out the rest of those cards. The left name Heliums don't do much, but it's hard for them to block and we're on the play. So we'll play first. And we'll mulligan again, because it's one of those days. We either have all lands or no lands. Pretty close to every game today, too. Go and put that on bottom. If he has like a Duress or a Spell Pierce, we're in super bad shape. If he doesn't, the hand's pretty good. I apologize if you guys can hear my phone ring. Rip. Go ahead and get a green because we may need to Magma Spray while casting a 2-drop some turn. And we need green, double green for the Hydra anyway that's already in our hand. At least we can get whatever we can get whichever one he takes back. If we ever need it. Alright, well, we'll just start with this one. So one way to potentially get to a Hydra next turn, but opponent still has 3 cards in hand. We have 4, and we're getting ready to miss and we just missed a land drop. So like, it's obviously looking exceptionally bad. This thing doesn't get first strike or anything, does it? Nope. Alright, well, we'll snap block. That's pretty easy block then. Go ahead and kill this thing. This is our last opportunity to kill it. Don't really care about it too much, but it is the last opportunity. Hey Sean, what's up, man? Well, that's unfortunate. Pretty much can't beat that card now. Because he has that thing in place still. Just going to cast 2 4/4s and hope they're enough. He gets at least a minimum of 1 chump blocker every turn. Sure. He's got a counter spell. He probably just beats us, but we can't afford to play around one. We're on a fast clock though. We take 5 this turn and 8 next turn. With what's on board. So like he's very far ahead in the race. Untap land would be kind of nice. It's going pretty terrible, man. Well, is there any creature in the graveyard? Well, yes, there is a creature in the graveyard. Alright, well, I guess we're just going to bash for a bundle then. See what happens. You may be forced to chump block this turn, or you may be afraid enough to. It's obviously not forced to. Go ahead and play this guy and try to gain 2 life. He's very likely to have a removal spell here. Could have cast Voltaic Brawler, but like in order to add to a Lightning Strike, which is a card he's already showed us. Hey Chris, thanks for the auto host, man. Oh, he left this thing back. It's kind of an odd one to leave back. Because it's certainly not going to get the block. He's going to have to use it for the pirate, probably. He really needs another spell. Go ahead and attack this one. Which he knows we have this, he saw it. Oh, well, okay. Guess he has a double counterspell. And he has a removal spell for this? Great. So we just lost. What can we draw to win now? Any removal, I guess, wins? If he doesn't have another thing? Yeah, any removal wins if he doesn't have another thing, so. Go ahead and pop off this one. I didn't play this game particularly well. I could have done extra damage with these bristling hydras at some point, but I kept thinking he'd be forced to chump block at some point. He just proved to me that he wasn't forced to chump block ever. Tapped a black mana for something. I guess he's showing us that he still has Fatal Push. Not really sure. We've mulliganed a lot today, Sean, and we've drawn either too few lands or too many lands, and I've played kind of poorly on top of that. So those four things in combination equal we're not running particularly well. Well, if he's trying to race us, that makes the Invigorated Rampages a little bit better, right? So he didn't show us any counterspells other than the one pirate counterspell, so I don't think I'm worried about Prowling Shepherd. Seems like it's too slow. Alright, so we'll try this, I guess. He's not showed us any red creatures. Still don't want to try to combo, though. I think the key to this game is him not drawing the Menace Pirate and us drawing Hydras. Alright, well, this hand yet is another very slow hand, but I think we have to keep it. Problem is, he has a bunch of discard spells, probably, so. Like, it could go very poorly if he just, like, snags one of these. Probably snags this, though. Yeah. If I was playing well, maybe we'd be doing good anyway, but like I said, I'm not even playing well, which makes it extra hard. He took an Attune. It's kind of odd. I guess he has a second discard spell if he's taking an Attune. We can't take any of our creatures, so we had to take like an Attune or a Harness Lightning. Doesn't seem that great to me. We're still in pretty fine shape if we just draw a land. Captain Lannery. Which is a little disappointing. It's the only red creature he showed us in 3 games. He's going to play a Siren? So we kind of like have to kill this, but like if we kill this, we just lose? Like we legitimately just can't win now, right? Alright. Opponent kind of went off on us. Getting to play double spell when we're mana screwed's pretty insane. It is a very slow clock though, so as long as he doesn't have something to back it up, there's some chance that we can make a comeback. No, never mind. He has the exact card he needs to back it up. So we practically have no chance now. We just can't win this race at this point. We don't have enough removal in our deck. If we draw an untapped land and we can play 2 potential blockers next turn, then maybe we can make something happen after that. Nah, that doesn't help. And he didn't play a land, so you can pretty much bank that. You can pretty much bank that he has removal spells in his hand, or at least counter spells. Well, I didn't even mean to play the Long Tusk Cub. I meant to play another Servant, but it's irrelevant. Like, he's going to Fatal Push whichever one I play. And I can't block, and I'm just going to get chunked for half my life, chunked for half my life. Alright, well, we got smashed. Feel like if we hit lands, we just crush. But it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Down to 5 and 4. It's only the second time. It's only the second time this season we've not got our money back. Definitely ruins the rating though. We'll probably be like 1850 after this event. And again, we have no lands. I think we've mulliganed in 100% of our matches at least once. We added the 22nd land to our deck as well. So we got flooded in our original games. Didn't really want to keep a Rootbound Crag on top, but we already have a 3-drop in our hand, so. No. It's just blue-black and we're dead. Yeah, don't think we're going to beat this deck. Don't care if he has. There's no reason to play around him having a Fatal Push because he has Essence Scatters and Supreme Wills and Sensors and everything. Just trying to get something on the table is hard enough. Trying to get something on the table while it being able to not be killed just seems like just not an obtainable task. So maybe we'll draw Bristling Hydra this turn. It's like our one chance. Another tune's certainly not our one chance. Oh, we got 6 lands and 12 cards again. There's a Hydra, but it's a bit too late, probably. It's like not completely too late. It's still coming down before the Torrential Gearhulk, which is nice, but like he's got 4 cards in hand, so the odds of him being able to deal with this are extremely high. And of course, he hit. And now Gearhulks are online for the rest of the game. There's the 7th land and 14 cards. Eighth land and 15. It's honestly been like this all day. And did he miss a land drop? No, he played a land. I was gonna say if he missed a land drop, we're obviously just dead. Come on, deck. Let us play Magic, please. At least the stream's gonna be short. I can go play League of Legends. Yeah, I guess that card technically doesn't do much right now, does it? Other than Impulse. And that's a very likely game. Well, if he doesn't have a counter spell, this thing can win. The odds of him not having a counter spell seem to me like next to none, but whatever. Vraska's Contempt. Dress? Blossoming Defense? Yeah, there's some world where he doesn't have a removal spell, right? It's not super likely, but we'll play their outs. Can't be Fatal Push. He could have just drew a bunch of Fatal Pushes. He's got 3 cards in hand, right? Alright, well, I guess we're going to go for it. Hopefully we draw Blossoming Defense and make it easy to go for. Blossomo Defensoroo? That's about the furthest thing from a Blossoming Defense that I've ever saw. No, he couldn't have just drawn a bunch of Fatal Pushes, could he? Couldn't have just had a bunch of Fatal Pushes. I seem to always draw Fatal Pushes when they're dead, and my opponents never do. Well, that's kind of interesting. Like, that doesn't seem like that was particularly good to me. Alright, well, we're still lethal if we draw a number of different cards. What's he have? 5, 9, 13, 17, 18, 19, plus 23, so he has 42. So any of the plus 4s is more than lethal, and a fling is more than lethal, so we basically have one draw step to rule them all. You know what that card's not? That card's not any of those spells, so we're just Dobbs now. He has a Fatal Push now and it's good. Alright, well that's a little unfortunate. Anyway, it's practically impossible to beat these decks with the combo. They just have way too many ways to beat the combo. So you pretty well sideboard out all the combo pieces again and bring in literally everything with power. The flings are fine, or sorry, the harness lightnings are fine simply because like sometimes they just play like a turn 5 Scarab God, and it's one way to like completely take that off the table. But we're not very likely to win this game. We're not favored at all. So we'll play first. Hands again miserably bad, like literally every hand we've had this evening. It's like a 5 lands, 2 spells, but we can't really mulligan it because it's some of our better spells. This is a 22 land deck, by the way. and you guys see like what's happening land-wise. So like it's pretty easy to tell that we're running a little bad, but I'm not really worried about running that bad because we've ran so well over the past month or so. Like we've ran beyond hot over the past month. Huh. Guess opponent's gonna try to essence on that thingy. Karate chop. So I have a reasonable draw this game. Like we've hit a few runners and not in a horrible spot anymore. Would love to draw another blossoming defense. That would probably put us over the top of this hand. They have Bantu's Reckoning. I'm willing just to basically concede. I'm going to slam the Servant either way. So the Scarab God doesn't save them now? So I guess Bantu's Reckoning is the only thing that saves them? Um, they had a few different outs if I didn't play the Servant, though. Could have just had, like, a removal spell and a blocker or something. So he wants to Fatal Push that, does he? Don't think I want to let him Fatal Push it. So like this thing can attack for 5 and this thing can attack for 5, so even if he brings his little lifelinker down, he would still be dead. Because of the Oasis. And if he counterspells this, he can't bring the little thing down. Alright, well, we stole that game. I think this card's considerably less good on the draw. Don't know what I would want versus him, though. I guess we just grab a couple of these and hope that we don't draw them. That seems pretty terrible, right? Let's put this card in our deck and hope we don't draw it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what we're going to do anyway. I wouldn't want to draw the Green Belt Rampager. I wouldn't want to draw the Pummeler, so. Oh, this hand is another fairly miserable hand that I still kind of think is a keep. Yeah, I kind of think it's a keep still. It's pretty bad. There's 12 2-drops in the deck, though, so the odds of finding a 2-drop are pretty high. That's not a 2-drop. It's something that can't be counterspelled, though, but unfortunately he can just kill it. Depending on what we draw next turn, will determine whether I just play this or not. Alright. Fine deck. Now we can hold up Blossoming Defense to save the Shepherd for an attack. This looks like a hand that's not going to line up well. Looks like a hand that's not going to line up well versus him just having turn 4 Scarab God though, which is a bit of an issue. Like we'll struggle with just turn 4 Scarab God. But there's only generally 2 in their deck. You can always draw Harness Lightning. Alright. It's not that bad though. Because we get it basically served its purpose to turn our things unencounterable for a turn, which is what we wanted out of it. So yes, we'll pay to 2 to prevent that. Opponent's still at like a million life though, and now he's getting to the point of the game where he can buy back Gearhulk, so we practically have to have a Harness Lightning that exact turn, which we didn't, of course. Because having a Harness Lightning would have been running hot. And if he has the Gearhulk, we're just dead. We realize that. We're not that worried about it. Alright, well. That's us getting crushed, folks. Yep. The blue black deck that I was insulting beat us, but the one thing it does beat is a little weird mid-rangey green decks. So like we pretty well knew we were going to get beat when we saw what he led with. It's one of the reasons that I've not been working on this deck, even though I've worked on it in the past. Like this deck just really struggles versus the blue decks in this format, but more importantly than struggling versus the blue decks, it also struggles versus the red decks. And you just can't struggle versus that many things, I don't think. But anyway, we're going to hop off here and we're going to host Autumn Lily. Yeah. But again, like I said, the main reason I played this deck is because someone on Twitter asked us to. So, or not Twitter, someone on YouTube asked us to. You can rest assured that we're very unlikely to play it again anytime soon. I just think it's very poorly positioned at this moment. Don't really like where it's at this moment at all in the format, which is unfortunate because I really enjoy playing the deck. Even if we ran like really weird tonight, like most of those matches that we were running weird in, like we're not favored in anyway. Like we are favored versus the blue-white approach deck. The one reason you're favored versus the blue-white approach deck is because if you draw Fling and you draw an Electrostatic Pummeler, at some point they just have to tap 7 mana and go up to 27 life, and you just kill them on the spot while they're tapped out without attacking. The blue-black deck, we're obviously not favored versus because we don't have that luxury versus them. They get to block, and they actually have a clock. I don't think we're favored versus the Grixis Pirate decks either. I think we're okay. I think it's kind of close, but I would assume they're a marginal favorite. With the hands we had, I think we would have won had we drawn one more land, but like I think we drew a well above average mix of spells. We were just one land shy. The Abzan token decks I actually think is close to a buy, but the one that we did get paired versus, we had a horrible draws, we mulliganed, and he had like 3 Wrath of Gods in the game, and I don't think I played well. The teamer match actually is a little difficult too, even though our opponent ran very poorly versus us. But yeah, I would not suggest playing this deck right now. It's fun, but it's just when you sign up to play this deck, you're basically hoping to play versus only blue-white approach and only teamer. Out of like the top 4 or 5 decks anyway. Sure, you can beat some of the other tier 2 decks, but like I'm talking about out of like the top decks. So I think this deck's dropped in flavor a lot. I don't actually know how to fix it. This list didn't seem particularly good. But anyway, that'll be it for us today. Thanks for stopping by, and go watch Miss Autumn Lily. She's playing Esper Tokens, which is something that I may play again tomorrow. May play blue-white approach tomorrow. Like there's some alterations to the blue-white approach deck that I want to try. Let me open a second copy of this deck so that I don't ruin the first copy. Like I want to cut these 4 cards, and I want to try this. I don't know where they're at. These are what I want. This is what I want to try. But I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure that Opt is better than this card. So like maybe I want this card over this card, but I think I want to cut the Glimmers. The Glimmers haven't felt particularly good. But unless something changes the next time we play Blue-White Approach, we're probably going to play either this 75. Well, I might put a Field or Rune or 2 in the sideboard, but like or in the main deck. But basically, ignoring the lands, this 75, potentially these 4 cards over these 4 cards, though I do think these 4 cards are better in the early game. These cards are better in the late game, so I have to put some more thought into that before we start testing it. But I think flipping an Ascanta early is so incredibly powerful in this deck. And I think it might be what we have to do to try to beat the teamer decks. I don't think we can try to outcontrol them anymore. I think they actually outcontrol us. I think we have to like tempo them on lands and make them need to be able to play multiple spells a turn, which is one of the reasons that we have the 7 ways to like deal with a creature on the board, including the 6. Well, the 7 3 mana or less ways. But anyway, you guys don't want to hear me ramble. Take care, everybody, and thanks for stopping by.